تقرير مجد الكيلاني report. Welcome our guest, Jonathan Walker, the regional editor of Trinity Mirror Group, which is
newspapers in Birmingham and Newcastle, regional newspapers in big cities in England.
Of course, the budget we talk about. And to be prepared for the budget, we got you two drinks, the traditional drink and the water drink, just in case.
Excellent.
So now, before you speak, also, I'm prepared, in case I've got some cough. Does actually trying to be funny suit the Chancellor image?
Well, you wouldn't have thought so, because he's known as Spreadsheet Phil. He's known as a sort of very boring, grey person. But actually, when he delivered his budget, I thought he was rather good. He was quite funny. There were some good jokes in it.
That's true, yeah, very good. It was a surprise to me. For your region, first let's talk about the Midlands. What's in the budget for the Midlands?
Well, the best thing for the Midlands was £250 million for a new light rail scheme, which is very important for the regional economy. And it's quite a good example of the way that you have the big announcements which the national media here in England and the UK will focus on the NHS and housing and so on. But actually you have these local announcements which only get publicity locally in a town and city concerned, but actually are really, really important. So
outside London, we focus on project doing jobs. Is he correct to say this is the largest expansion of the National Railway since Victorian times?
Yes, in terms of sort of what's promised. I mean, you've got HS2, which is going ahead.
You're a champion of HS2.
A champion of HS2, the new big rail line.
Can we explain to our viewers abroad what's actually this budget and HS2, what does it mean?
Well, for HS2 itself, what this budget includes is £300 million to improve links from other towns and cities to HS2, which is
it's high speed?
It's these new links will be normal rail lines, but they make it easy for people to get onto the new high-speed rail line. So they sort of support the high-speed rail line, which is a massive £50 billion project.
So it actually cuts time and increase the capacity of number of passengers? Absolutely,
yeah, yeah.
What's for the northeast Newcastle?
The northeast received £337 million for a new expansion of the metro scheme there, the light rail scheme. Specifically, it's getting a new fleet of trains, which is really important.
But the traditional industries, as our viewers know, used to be the shipbuilding, and so which is gone. So what's the new industries now?
Technology, computers, exports, just having the ports there, it's still a massive exporting region, and energy.
And this is the area that voted to leave?
It's an area that voted to leave, and it is more dependent on exports than any other part of the UK.
So they weren't looking to export to other parts of the world than Europe?
Well, I don't know if it made sense really to vote to leave, but that's what the people did.
Well, that's democracy. That's a good point to take a break. استراحة قصيرة نعود بعدها إليكم. Now back to our guest. It's before the budget was the 70th Jubilee marriage of the Queen. She's still the most popular lady in Britain.
Oh, absolutely, yes, without a doubt. And even sometimes other members of the royal family have a hard time. The press give them a hard time. The public maybe turn against them a little bit, but not the Queen. Everybody loves the Queen.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I remember my mum actually taking the handkerchief out in tears when Princess Elizabeth got married. I bet your mum also and parents were.
Oh, absolutely, yes, my parents loved it.
Well, speaking about the parents and so on, have you seen that news about the elderly couple who are selling their domestic appliances?
Yes.
They were made in the 1950s. You can buy one for 15 quid.
Yeah, and they still work apparently.
And they still work.
I bet there's quite a good market for that. I bet a lot of people like to have those in their home.
They probably have it as an antique. I still have got the old typewriter.
Oh, yes.
From the 1960s when I learned
wow.
I mean, making all this noise. I remember actually my mum boiling water and pouring it on the top because with the round plugs, the fuse went off from the main, so there was no heating. So actually boiling water and pouring it in. You don't remember that, do you?
No, no. So what did she pour it into?
into the washing machine was actually top filling.
I see.
And the element that heating it, the fuse gone.
Yes.
So instead of waiting for the man to come and repair it, she boiled water on the stove. And
okay.
well, it was after the war, you see, they were very tough.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And of course, this is the era when Queen Elizabeth was married to her husband, a very different world to today.
I know, they were sort of making cheap the rest. Well, the new generation today, like the paper chases story.
Yes.
What are they objecting?
Well, the claim is that anybody who advertises in the Daily Mail, which is a very popular newspaper
It's
here.
the widely read paper.
Yeah.
Among the rich women, especially.
Absolutely, yeah. That they are, that the Daily Mail, the argument goes, is a right-wing paper, an unpleasant paper with unpleasant views, and if you advertise, then you are endorsing those views. But I don't think that's true at all. People advertise because they know that people are reading that paper.
Yeah.
They want to tell people about their products.
But why is the new generation doesn't accept the freedom we live in? Because this generation of the world fought for this freedom. Why aren't they accepting it?
They would argue, in fairness, that they are exercising their freedom of speech by campaigning against views.
To stop the others.
Yes, exactly, yes. That's not my view, but I think that's what they would say.
View. Well, the irony is we have to protect their rights to do that, to stop other people's right. But there's also a dangerous precedent because now we have two councils who actually try to see the press following the regulations.
Yes.
One of them is not recognized. What's your group? Which one your group recognized?
My group is involved in IPSO, which is
the main one.
It's the main one, and the one which is not recognised by the government.
Yeah, while quite few, like the Guardians, do the one recognized by the government. Did you follow that story? The one recognized by the government who tried to lobby the House of Lords?
Yes. Well, they've got into some serious difficulty. They're called Impress, and some of the senior members have actually had to be suspended from taking part in an inquiry into one blog which wrote a story about a BBC journalist because they had previously tweeted very negative comments about this journalist. So there are a lot of questions about the impartiality of Impress, the press regulator.
Because it's also subsidized or giving money by one main rich man who had vendetta against the press.
Yes, that's yes.
Mr. Mosley. Yeah.
Mr. Mosley, who was the subject of stories. I mean, in fairness, the stories about him were not
well, he won his case.
He won his case, so they were not correct. So he had a grievance, but he now seems to be taking it out against the media as a whole.
But we have a law that covers everything, so we don't need anyone to censor the press.
No, but some people would say that the laws aren't good enough because it's actually really hard to sue a newspaper. If you have the money, you can do it. If you're an ordinary member of the public and the papers write something about you which is unfair or untrue, it's quite hard to take action. So that's why some people say that we do need to do more to control the press.
And this controversy would continue, but we uphold the freedom of the press because we both are journalists.
Absolutely.
We thank John Walker, the regional editor of the Trinity Mirror Group. Thank you very, very much for enlightening us with this information. That's all what we have. هذا كل ما عندنا وإلى اللقاء. نشوفكم الأسبوع الجاي. تابعونا على التويتر @أبيل ضاوش one word وعلى الفيسبوك من لندن. إلى اللقاء.